What's up, Pit Masters? Tonight we are coming in with a special episode. We are going to be talking SCA Bring Your Own Steaks, hot takes, but we're actually going to change that to Bring Your Own Ribeye, is what Brett Galloway wants it to go by. But tonight we are just going to be discussing the hot new topic that is in the SCA world, that is bringing your own steak to the competition. I feel every single angle on this. First of all, I want to say that we're not here to bash the SCA. We're not going to here to talk bad about it. We are just here to voice our opinions and what we think about it, and just that. We're all supporters of the SCA. We want to continue to cook. We are grateful for all of the opportunities that Brett and Kid can give us for this, but we're just going to dive right into it. First thing first, I want to get off my chest is I don't like it. When I joined the SCA, it was grab my grill, grab some chocolate, grab some rubs, and then go out and cook. Short event, nice little Saturday, good to go. One steak, one ancillary, and it has grown. We expect the sports to grow over time, but I really like just showing up and not having to worry about my steak. That's just my opinion. We will get into more opinions about that, but a couple topics that I want to discuss is one, the big question is what happens when we qualify for SCA World Championships. Do we have to fly with our own steaks now at this point? That question will probably get answered in the future. Two, why the change now? Usually Brett and Ken announce new world changes at the start of the year. I guess technically this kind of is, so maybe I'm wrong on that. But just making it more aware before people entered events and then it's changing on them. Like here in Utah, it was just a normal steak event, but it got changed today, which things happen. We're going to be a test city, so that's okay with me. But yeah, so we're just going to bring in a cast of people that we got cooks, we got a couple promoters in here, we got an ancillary cook. So we're just going to bring everybody in. Everybody's going to sound off who they are, with how they participate in the SCA, and then yeah, I got a list of questions that we're just going to throw out there and just see how everybody feels about it. Once again, everybody who's jumping in on this tonight, remember, the SCA gives us opportunities. We're not here to bash them. So let's go in and talk to everybody and just see what how everybody feels about this.
This is the single best investment you can make to become a better cook.
Thermopen 1 is the best thermometer I've ever had.
My thermometer of choice is ThermoWorks.
When it comes to quality that I can trust, this is the company that I go to over and over again.
There may be other thermometers out there, but there aren't other Thermopen.
Welcome, everybody. How's it going? We even have Blake the judge. We have a judge coming in. I guess we did. He decided to leave. That's fine. Let's start off with Brennan. Go ahead and sound off who you are and how you contribute to the SCA.
Brendan Nilsson from Richfield, Utah, with Severe Barbecue Addicts. I've been competing since they came to Utah in 2018. Just an avid, love the SCA, love everything about it. And yeah, just it's going to be an interesting change.
Very nice. Sean Rapier.
What's happening? Sean Rapier from Southern Utah now, and just grateful to be with all y'all good people. And I wouldn't know any of you were it not for SCA. So my plate is very full, and I am grateful.
Very nice. We got Nathan Merriam.
Hey, Nate Merriam Benson from American Fork, Utah. We're steak cooks, we're ancillary cooks, we're
promoters.
We do a little bit of everything.
And then we got the Chris's. She's muted.
Oh, no, not now. Chris and Christina from West Haven, Utah. Sometimes a steak, and I do ancillary cooks. Chris is coming. He's right there.
Very nice. And then Johnny Cobia.
Johnny Cobia from Mapleton. Been cooking since 2021. Did heavily cooking and ancillaries. Moved over to steaks. Last year and a half, I've been a little bit more judging on the side, kind of sort of thing. But yeah, here to hear opinions and see what we do. See how we figure this out.
Perfect. All right. And then I did drop a link in the comments. If you do feel like you wanted to voice off, please do, because apparently this is just a Utah loaded cast tonight. But let's start it off. The news broke last night that there are going to be 3 test events. May 23rd in Goldsboro, May 30th in Clinton, and then August 8th in Hornersville, Missouri. And then as of today, Utah Rec Tech competition has became another test event. So we have 4 on the calendar. How do you guys feel about it? The SCA just dropping this on us with 18 days left.
Hey, Anthony, really quickly, I put it up on my Facebook sharing. I'm trying to get more friends involved in it. Can we just quickly say how it's been? I mean, if we've got a total newcomer here, just 2 seconds of what we normally do.
Yeah, let's start there. Yeah. Let's talk about the past. Let's talk about how the evolution of the SCA came. I'm a huge fan of the one steak, one ancillary cooks, where it all started. We pull up in a parking lot at 8 o'clock and we're home by 3. That was my favorite time of the SCA. We didn't have these camps. We just pulled in. You go there, just stacked them in. I met a lot of you along that way just by being randomly stacked in, and I love it that way. I still love cooking the way we do. We have our friends, we have our camps, but I kind of really do miss that just you never know who you're to be cooking next to aspect. Brandon, Sean, go ahead and chime in on this.
Yeah, I mean, if someone's brand new, like if someone isn't familiar with SCA, they historically provide the steaks. We draw a number, we walk up, and it's 1 through 30 or whatever, 1 through 25, and then you reverse the order, so you've drawn 2 steaks. But all the steaks come from the same place.
Yes,
and many of them come from the same cow, depending on the purveyor. and so now the change is that we would bring our own, which is much more similar to most barbecue competitions. If I summed it up correctly there.
There we go. That's all. I answered the question completely wrong. Thanks for fixing that for me, Sean.
No, that's good. I just thought if somebody is like, what the heck is SCA, then that's how it was done. And this is the new proposed change. So
perfect. And then Brandon, go ahead and finish the evolution of the SCA from the start of when you started cooking to yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of seen it the first when we started. You had single selection tables. To moving on to having 2 or 3 tables, doing odds and evens or different colors or whatnot, and it's kind of put some luck into it, but there's still, I mean, steak selection can make or break you at a comp for sure. If you're not comfortable with it, you don't know what you're looking for. You're supposed to take less than 30 seconds to pick your steak. They used to time you back in the day.
It's true.
Us lucky ones out here, we used to get beat with a stick if you got too close to the table.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see there. I mean, I want to stress too, this is a test right now.
Yes.
It's not a for sure done change. They want to get a dozen or so test cooks in and get it figured out. I talked with Brett a little bit, and he mentioned they wanted to maybe get 1 or 2 in each region now that the SCA has gone to regions on points, so that everyone kind of has a feel for it and can try it out and then gain some feedback on it.
Right. And we'll let Christina sound off real quick because it might take a whole hour, but you never know on this. Christina, how do you feel about this change just being dropped on us? You're muted. Yeah. Oh man, I guess we won't hear from her tonight. I got
still
you.
muted.
What do you want to say something?
Yeah.
We'll chime in.
All right, go ahead.
Miriam will talk for you.
Hey, I think there's always adjustment when there's change, right? And we don't, and there's unknown of of what to expect when people are now bringing their own ribeyes. But like Nate and I, we both love to compete. We love to see the people that we compete with. We do our best every single year to not only support comps, but to create comps for people in our area. And so we see the perspective of both sides. So
as far as it being dropped on us, I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't spend a lot of time in prep. I think 18 days is plenty of time for me to make this change. You know,
we're still cooking a steak in a parking lot.
I mean, it is going to be different. Like you say, I've never had to think about sourcing my steaks. And, you know, over the last 24 hours or so, I've thought a lot about it. You know, I've thought about, you know, because people are throwing out, oh, people are going to show up with Wagyu. And you know,
we know
I'm not sure how well that will do. So,
right. Yeah,
you know,
to touch on
there's a lot of
little
unknowns, but they're the same unknowns as walking into a comp and not knowing if they're going to be decent steaks or if it's going to be, you know, cutter grade.
Yeah, good point. Speaking of sourcing meat, we'll jump into Christina here in just a minute. But what is this going to do with our meat sponsors throughout the SCA? Creekstone Farms, right? You know, how's that going to affect them? People are going to now go out and see if they can get meat sponsors. So I think that's just another added level of competitive edge. People are going to start getting meat sponsors where they don't even have to pay for their steaks at that point. So once again, it's another competitive edge for people that have been in the game a lot longer versus a new person. Christina, you ready?
Yeah, I fixed it.
Perfect. So how do you feel about this breaking news that just popped up overnight?
I don't know if I necessarily have the right to have much to say because Chris and I haven't done tons of SCAs lately. Yeah. But I will say that steak selection is probably the part that I look forward to the most when I go to SCAs. I absolutely love picking my number. I love the anticipation of, oh, did I get 1? Did I get 23? Back of the line pictures. I absolutely love everything about that. I also love not having to worry about my meat. So for us, where we do more KCBS and I have to go get my meat and get it, trim it, get it all prepared. It was kind of nice to know when you went to the SCA, you didn't have to worry about that. You just got to sign up, have your seasonings, you roll up, you go, you didn't have to worry about that. Also getting, you know, not everybody has a fridge or ways of keeping it proper temperature, getting it there, treating it correctly for those hours while you're getting there, setting up to the time the cook starts. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I just loved not having to get that stress during the week, having to go pick out steaks, find steaks. I like just to go to the comp and get in the back of the line with my friends and take some pictures. So
right. I agree with you on that. It's always nice to be able to just go to that cook meeting, steak selection, and say hi to everybody. Yeah. Because once you're in your camp, you're kind of there for the day.
Yep.
Doing other stuff.
They are still wanting to have cooks meetings.
We'll still have cooks meetings.
Yeah, they will still have cooks meeting that everyone needs to go to. Cooks meeting for 10, 15 minutes, whatever.
Yeah. But still, that kind of still is only 10, 15 minutes we're listening, and then we're all going to get back to work. When people are selecting steaks, we used to stand around and we used to go and talk to each other, show each other our steaks, you know, create conversation. But I think that part's going to go away.
And all the time with cooks meeting, I'll tell you at KCBS, not me and Chris both go. It's who has the time, who's not prepping, who's not doing something. And a lot of times both of us aren't in that tent for cooks meeting in the first place. So,
well, I believe it will be required that every cook. And so this isn't a team event. So we'll all be there.
Yeah.
Galby, we haven't heard anything. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to just give a positive. My first ever SCA, the choosing a steak was so unbelievably stressful. Like it stressed me out to no end. And I still kind of get those jitters from time to time. I mean, like, I'm 50-50. Like, I'm happy to try it and see. But one thing I think that will come of this is I think newcomers will feel a little bit better, like being able to bring meat, like at least they've chosen it beforehand. They've watched some videos. They know what they're looking for, and they can at least come and not go through. Now, for me, it was good going through that, I guess, because I learned a lot, especially the first steak I ever chose. I was so proud of myself for what I chose. And then I walked out and Fidel looks at it and goes, well, how are you going to place it in? Because if they cut it this, and then he ripped it apart, and I realized I had messed up my life forever and would never recover from it. But also,
yeah,
what
still
I
do that to you
see
today.
Yeah, he does every time. But what I do see happening that could be really positive, for KCBS, there are a lot of companies that now sell KCBS kits or rib kits. Some of them even trim, which I wouldn't be a fan of that. I like to trim my own stuff, but I could see like meat companies saying, here's an SCA 5-pack or 4-pack or whatever, and we know what SCA cooks look for. So our butchers are judging it. You buy it knowing it's an SCA quality steak that has either a good tri-heart or a spinalis. And I could even see you choosing that from a meat company.
That is a very good point. Johnny, we're going to get you involved here a little bit. You're more of a caterer and a cook at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the no meat inspection? Once again, how do you feel about that? Because coming from an ancillary cook side too, because you've cooked ancillaries without having to worry about an inspection, but how do you feel about the no meat inspection?
So before I get to that, I'll say I'm kind of on the fence about it. It's 50-50 for me. I like some ideas about it. I dislike some ideas about it. The no meat inspection, I don't like at all. Actually, I also don't like that you can trim it before. I think it should be all there. We're not prepping brisket. We're not prepping, stuff that's a little bit harder to kind of figure out and get it and display it and everything like that. If it does go forward with this, I think the steak should be displayed there. If it needs to be checked, it should be checked by the sponsor. It shouldn't be trimmed until you're there. It shouldn't be injected until you're there. It shouldn't be salted or peppered or whatever the crap you put on your steak until you're there. And those are some things I'm worried about, that, all this stuff and all this prep before to make it super better. And who knows, it might be beneficial. It might not be, but I wouldn't say that the inspection has to be mandatory, but I think there should be some here and there, not at every comp, but here and there.
On the other side, though, do they inspect your ancillaries?
Right.
Anything on your ancillary dish?
No, but I'm usually not injecting my ancillary.
No, but you could have meat that you marinated the day before. I'm just saying both sides of the coin. I'm not an ancillary cook, so.
Oh, I know, and I can name like 3 ancillaries that I could maybe inject before the comp.
Ribs.
So
I
question
don't
for
do
you.
ribs. I think ribs and SCA are they're a KCBS rib. Nothing else is going to win.
So question for you. What do you gain by doing all this stuff beforehand? Like
Tenderness. I agree with
a
tenderness.
lot of time. Well, maybe.
Flavor.
Yes.
But you start to cure it and you lose a lot in texture. I mean,
okay. So if that's the case, why don't we just cook it before and then warm it up and turn it in when we get there?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I mean, have you ever had a heated up steak? It's never as good as fresh
That's
off
why
the
they always
grill.
go on breakfast burritos.
I know. I'm just saying. That's why I'm on the fence 50-50. I love some of it.
Well, how about everybody brings their steak, hands it in, and then you get to draw numbers and pick everybody's steaks.
There we go.
Inevitably, somebody's going to go get the crappiest ones from Walmart.
Well,
and
that's
me, who I always draw the back of the line, I'll get that stuff.
That's what I like about drawing numbers. That's what's fun about it.
That's right.
Well, if you
Everybody bring
every
your steak
time get the
back on the
last of the
table.
line, it's ridiculous.
Let's get Blake involved. Blake is not a cook. He is a judge.
Nope.
Let's talk about what your concerns or positives might be from the judging aspect.
So one of the things as judges, we are very right there when it comes to steak judging. We're the ones that set up the tables. We're the ones that lay them out. We're the ones that help people select what steaks to come out. Not to talk bad about people that do butchers, because I know I can't butcher with the craft for my life, but sometimes there are hits and misses when it comes to the steaks that we do receive. And every once in a while, you have the people, again, at the very front of the line, you see 3 or 4 really good steaks out of the 40, those are gone. And then people are fighting for, a quarter inch of a spinalis, or, any tri-hearts that are left over, or whatever type thing might have happened during the, packaging or, butchering process. So sometimes it feels like, oh man, some of these people are getting shortchanged, and because they don't have that, big juicy spinalis, I don't know what's going to go with there. Again, this is from a judge's standpoint. I don't know what sort of miracle you guys whip up in the kitchen.
Right.
But
so what about, so my question is for you is the taste score coming from different beef sources. I know you personally, and I've seen you judge before. You are a very consistent judge, but is that going to mess with your palate because you let's say you get these steaks and the consistency is going to be the same every single time, but now you're going to start getting thicker or thinner steaks,
true,
more of a better cut as well when you're slicing into them. What do you think? Is this going to affect any taste on the palates, and it's going to kind of make it more difficult for you to judge? Where do you think that's going to come into play a little bit with having different source steaks?
So having different source steaks, I mean, I really liked what what Sean was talking about before, having this idea that, we're going to be SCA. We're looking for SCA quality steaks that we're going to be getting from our distributors or from our butchers, or even heck, pulling up from Walmart, right? Having the proper thickness is definitely going to have an effect on your ability to get the right temp, the right doneness, right? If you're pulling out like a double chop on a steak, or something that's like 1.5 inches thick, you're going to have a different cook time, different doneness, and you're going to have a lot of different texture. So that also adds maybe a little bit of burden to the cooks of being able to find somebody that can give them the correct measurements when it comes to finding a steak.
Right. So this is another thing that I've always enjoyed with SCA. Speaking of just texture and doneness and everything, I could go over to Brandon. I cooked a practice steak, Brandon, and it took off on me. Or it took forever to get to where I was going. Did you experience the same thing? Yes, I did. Now that a competitive advantage, I guess, or not competitive advantage, more of a community advantage to help each other out is gone.
Okay.
What do you guys think about that?
I don't know because a lot of that seems to be environmental more than, because you think about it, even at, there's only 12 on each muscle. Chances are you have 7 or 8 different cows kicking around. Well, maybe not that many, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of different cows that are kicking around in that. I think it's more environmental. So I think you'll still see that same thing where it took off because it's the environment we're in. I think that's more of an effect of that than it is the.
But I think that also
source.
That comes into play of what type of quality cut you're going. If you're staying true and getting choice, that could be completely different than a prime cut. So I get that. And then kind of just commenting on what Sandy Brown said is I think we as a whole community have kind of shot ourselves in the foot for this. We wait until the last second to sign up. It stresses promoters out. So I think we did this to ourselves slightly just because promoters didn't know how many steaks to order. They got stuck with leftover steaks because people didn't show up. I can see from the promoter's aspect that, hey, this is relieving a lot of stress from me not having to worry about who's going to come and who's going to go, and I'm not going to have to shell out a bunch of money for steaks.
Yeah, Brett said he received a lot of phone calls from promoters today begging to be on this program because they don't have to have the stress of worrying how many people's going to be there. They can focus on the other aspects of it. If they can hit 25 or so cooks, they're going to break even at this point. Now it's not a matter of I need to know 2 weeks before how many we're at. Now I need to know a week before. Now, crap, I had some people sign up and I've already bought steaks, and now I got to go find more.
Yeah. Like from a promoter's point, where I promote and help others promote, I mean, this is a big deal. It makes it takes a huge burden off of my thought process.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it is. I mean, I've a couple of events that I've promoted. I had to pull out, over $1,000 out of my pocket because steaks were that expensive. And we hear, oh, your payouts aren't enough, oh, you're whatever, or this, that, or the other. And I see, my debt, that charge at the end of the month that, okay, it was $1,000 to put on that.
Yeah.
Or more.
And I think that this is definitely going to address all that, but I also think that if there wasn't to go in this direction, I've always thought, you know what, you say 2 weeks before the event is when the cancellation period ends, and that no matter what, there should be some type of penalty for canceling, $50 or $100 or whatever to the promoter. But at 2 weeks, that's when cancellations end. And then if people want to trickle in and maybe charge an additional $25 or $50 for entry if you enter within that last 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever, just so that there's a little bit of more incentive. Honestly, there hasn't been, I hate to say it this way, but there's not been a ton of incentive for the cooks other than wanting to appreciate the promoters. There's not been a lot of incentive for the cooks to register early or not cancel. There just hasn't, those mechanisms haven't really been in place. Yeah. And it's unfair to the promoters. I believe this. Like, it is unfair to the promoters. And I know I cooked one comp just because it was about to be canceled. Like, and it was 4 days before or 5 days before, and the promoter was still going, I still don't know if we're doing this or not. And so I think that there could be some mechanisms, but I'm ready to try this. Like, I don't have a huge negative or huge positive.
Right.
I do think it's going to be the Wild West again for a while, where people are going, oh, I bought from this particular butcher or asked for this kind of cut or whatever. And it could really upend the game. But I don't know. I like chaos, so I'm in.
Yeah, I think, and Christina, I'm pretty sure this kind of caters to you and your benefit. Christina is a very well ancillary cook. She thinks of them completely, fully, thoroughly. She's like, okay, I'm going to cook the ancillaries. I'm good, set to go. And then Friday night, she's like, you know what? I'm so ready. I'm going to cook a steak, and having the option to just show up with your own steak and pay the entry fee. Do you like that aspect of being able to just jump on the last minute for a steak?
Everything about it.
Yeah, hold on. My TV just turned back on. Yeah, I do. I kind of did that anyway. I kind of would ask when I got there a few times. I'd ask, hey, is there enough steaks for me to cook? And there's been a few times they said no, but most of the time they said yes, and I jumped on it. I guess I don't know. Again, it's just shopping and getting one more thing and bringing one more thing that.
I mean,
it was nice not to worry about.
Yeah.
And I see positives of it, but I don't know.
Sandy Brown has a great question. Who is the main customer of the SCA? The promoter, the judges, the cooks? All of these are needed, but who is actually the biggest customer? Does anybody want to try to answer that? Because I don't want to.
What was the question again? One more time.
Who is the main customer?
That's like asking
Yeah.
That's like asking what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But
You have to
who's
have
the customer to
judges
the
for
SCA?
the cooks.
The egg
Yeah,
came first.
promoter, judges, cooks, or all of
You have
these
to
are
have a
needed. But
promoter to have an event.
That's a hard one.
honestly, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I will help you guys out slightly and see if I can push this conversation a little bit way. I'm gonna say the cooks. If we decide not to cook, everything else collapses.
Yeah, but if the promoter don't hold the contest, there is
Everything
no
collapses.
nothing for us to go
But
cook.
who is that on? That is on the cooks waiting to sign up to the last minute.
Yeah, I think the promoters have the most to lose. I mean,
Yes, they definitely do.
But I do think there could be more penalties. I had to cancel one time because I had gotten sick and I had to cancel the day before I'd gotten the flu. And when I called in just to let them know I did not expect a refund at all. It was the day before, you know, and they said, "Oh, well, we've put the money back on your account." And I said to him, I was like, "You shouldn't. It's the day before. That's on me." I mean, even though I got sick, you know, so I don't know. I'm ready to try this. Like, I'm not opposed to it. I think it'll be really interesting. I do have to go buy a steak now.
So,
but you know.
So here's my question. This kind of puts me in a bad spot. My girlfriend's a judge. I'm gonna go buy a steak. Does this kick her out? Does this kick Christina out from cooking or judging? Does this kick Nate out if Miriam decides to judge? Now this is a whole new can of worms.
Always kick Nate out.
Wow, guys. Geez.
Whoa, shots fired.
So yeah,
Love
it.
This is a new
Somebody
can of
just
worms.
got booted off of my barbecue team.
See, I'm just because there's all this. Being completely honest, that this is a couple sport in a way, you know.
It has turned into one, yes.
So what is this going to do on that? Where people want to judge and then also cook, or their spouse cooks and they like judging?
See, I have a question. Like, I don't know that I could pick out Miriam's steak for sure. Like, just being totally honest.
Yeah, but what if Marion's judging? We're not going to just say that you would do this, but what if Marion's judging? And you're like, Marion, I'm turning in a 3-inch steak. Like, that is just one person out of the 5 that are on the table, but still, that is considered kind of.
I don't think anyone would turn in a 3-inch steak.
But yeah,
but you don't know. Do you know?
And you've got to convince the other 4 people that it's great too.
Right.
You know,
Blake is nodding his head. How do you feel about this? This question?
I mean, currently how it is, if Nate wanted to cheat that way, he could find other ways to cheat. So
it'd be easier to mark a box.
Yeah.
Or to put your steak in slightly to the left or slightly to the right, or wrinkle your foil paper. There's so many other easier ways to cheat than to figure out what your steak looks like.
Damn, Johnny, you had a list of laundry lists on how to do this. Wait a second.
Because I've heard of people doing them.
What was that last one? Curl something? I'm writing them all down.
Right? Yes.
Right.
So I think,
Johnny's correct as well, though. When it comes down to it, I think the only thing that's going to really be the big variant is going to be the thickness. I think we're all going to stay pretty close, but I think if any variant, it will be the thickness. I think all the steaks will still look the same as they did last competition.
And see,
anything thinner or thicker just doesn't cook right, in my opinion. If I have to choose my own steak, it's going to be 1 inch to 1 1/4 inch every single time.
And if you go to Costco, the vast majority, Sam's Club, the vast majority of the steaks that are out there anyway are that thickness. Like,
Costco's got some damn good steaks.
Yeah, but it's like picking off. Might as well just pick from the table at the SCA event because you get 1 great steak and 2 crappy ones.
No, they've got triple packs of Tri-Hearts now.
Really?
They've got good steaks. Oh yeah, I was there just 2 days ago, and I couldn't believe what they had in a 3-pack. I just about took a picture of it and sent it to Nate. I was like, "Look at these, dude." I should have.
Yeah.
But, I think a lot of us go to the same butcher, and I think this is one good thing that could come out of it is getting local butchers much more involved. Like I have, a great relationship with my butcher 4 hours away. 4 hours from where I live.
Away.
I literally do. I mean, I shop up in where I used to live, so I load up 4 or 5 coolers and go up about every 3 or 4 months. and
That's
completely
awesome.
load up there. But I have the relationship with them that I can say, hey guys, here's what I'm looking for. Can you set aside over the next 2 weeks, put in the freezer 1 or 2 of these or whatever? I think the other thing I think is that honestly, we're not going to know after the first one. Like it's not, this is my opinion. I could be totally wrong, but after the first one, we're going to go, well, this was awesome. And then what about this? We hadn't even thought of this or that. I think it's going to take some cycles and evolution for us to go, okay, how do we solve this problem now? Or how do I fix this? And if I
want to get in more than just the 3 that they had originally planned on doing, they want to get a little bit more logistics and whatnot out of it.
I was also running out of good excuses for coming in DAL, so I look forward in a few weeks to going, guys, it was this buy your own steak thing. I would have come in first, but this buy your own steak thing just threw me off. Sorry.
Yeah, because Sean Repair stopped at the 20 steaks for $30 guy.
Yeah, he was in the parking lot. I bought a box.
Those things are horrid.
Sean, how come you turned in a pork chop? I'm like, guys, there were not enough descriptions involved, guys.
So, Johnny, I'm going to attack you slightly because of your comment today. What's the difference of buying a $35 steak versus just throwing $35 at the promoter and have them getting the steak? To counter that slightly, I sent my research team to the local Sam's Club. She was going there anyways, but I had her swing by the she swung by the meat cabinet for me, and she said choice steaks are coming at $15 a pound and primes are coming at $22 a pound. Most steaks are usually right around that pound mark.
Okay.
So I feel
they're
like
closer to 20 ounces, but
yeah, but I still feel like that you might still be saving some money versus the 125 entry fee versus the 160, maybe, depending on how crazy you want to go and how thick.
And see, this is where it comes into that. Around here we've tried to go with the creek stones, and they're even at wholesale a little bit more expensive. A little bit more expensive than like Sam's Club. So they're probably even a little bit more. They're right about equal to primes at Sam's Club when you're getting the choice from Creekstone, even at wholesale.
Yeah. Little comment.
I think one good savings.
All right.
What?
I just want to throw this out there before we continue on. We had he said pros are definitely outweighing the cons. It's time for something to change. The SCA numbers are down. And I feel like the whole reason why the SCA thing's down is kind of the topic we're going on. That's why I jumped in there, is that beef is so damn expensive. It's simple as that.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So by people bringing their own steaks, you think that's going to bring in more people to cook?
I don't think it's going to change the numbers.
I don't think it'll change the numbers either.
The number of opportunity people have. I think you'll see more contests pop up because it's easier on the promoters to host a contest.
Yeah, this 100% doesn't really change how much money we as competitors will put into it. In my opinion, it 100% changes the opportunity, like Brennan says, for promoters to say, hey, here's this comp. If we have 8 people, cool. If we have 29 people, cool. Bring your own steaks. Let's have a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, to me, too, a lot of times I bring half the steaks I get back. Like, I rarely cook a practice steak. So there's a lot of ways where this will save us money because, we're only buying 1 steak instead of 2.
Yeah, or for Richfield where there's 4, if it happens there, you buy 4 steaks instead of 8, and that saves you $20 per steak. There's quite a bit of money right there saved.
For us, that's what? And then the jackpot, that's 10 steaks. That saves us.
It even drops down from a 170 or 175 entry down to 125.
That's nice.
That saves us $1,000 between us.
Well, I think also when you're buying in bulk, when the promoters are buying in bulk, they're not looking at every steak. They're not judging every individual steak. And how often do you get a steak where the tail is a good quarter of a pound that you're just going to hack off right away? You're paying for that, you know. And you look at, I've had steaks where I barely trimmed, and I've had steaks where I feel like I've trimmed half of it. I can now go and choose my steak and look for ones that I'm not cutting off a quarter of a pound.
Which is
last year at Richfield, you know, the promoter got screwed by the steak company last year. They were cutting. I mean, some of the steaks I cut a 1/4 inch of thickness off of all 4 of my turn-in steaks to get down to normal SCA thickness, and the promoter had to pay per pound, but he needed so many steaks. So, you know, how many contests does that happen to where they're getting thinner or too thick of steaks?
I remember Leighton one time we did the pit stop, and I swear every steak was 2 inches thick.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
Ben,
I do remember that one.
Roast. That's when I invented the thickness slicer.
I thought I invented it.
No, I did, and you ran with my idea. But and I obviously didn't pursue that in any way. But anyways, so here's a touchy question. If we are bringing our own steaks, should there be a dynamic payout?
No,
I don't think so. I think Ralph LeGrand talked about it last night, and he said with today's steak prices, he checked yesterday, said if I did a contest today with steak prices that I got quoted today, I would need 46 teams to break even.
Yeah.
And with going to this, and he does the $1,000 payout all the way down to 6th through 10th is 50. And he said with that setup, with the new setup of bring your own ribeye, and he's doing $100 entry on his. He said he only needed 23 teams to break even on payouts.
Cooks, not teams. This is SCA.
Sounds like he has a some sort of sponsor, because that seems a little low. But I mean,
well, that's just to cover. That's to break even on his payouts. He said.
Yeah.
So he's more or less
his payout scale is $2,250. So
yeah.
Let's also remind people on the promoter end, even that he breaks even on the payout, he still has to pay the SCA for the whole competition, still has to buy trophies. Some places still he have to buy outhouses and bathroom facilities.
He's got to pay the reps. He's got to pay their reps travel if they had to travel so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are still other costs involved.
Yes.
To me, it shouldn't be as drastic as I've seen it, but I think there's still some reasonability for, you know, dropping it down a little bit. Because like if someone says if they only get 10 cooks, you know, you're still going to look at canceling it if you've got 2250 and, you know, so I mean, that's a deep discussion. That's when I'm
really
not prepared to.
Right. Yeah. It's just more or less fillers out there, but I think like
there's a war in my head.
Most events are in question of canceling at 15 people. 20 people, the promoter may break even. 25, they start getting everything covered for. 30 is like the super sweet spot where everybody's happy.
Yeah. Even at 125 with the 2250 payout, you're going to be probably breaking even at 25 teams, completely breaking even.
And see,
without my mistakes.
See, I like the dynamic where if you get 50 and they say now we're going to bump this up to 1,500 for the win.
Which,
you know, if it's a dynamic payout and they're willing to go up.
How many contests have you cooked other than Worlds in the last, say, 2 years? Has there been 50 plus cooks?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, as long as they're willing to split it if it goes well, you know.
Right. All right. So we're kind of split on that one.
I'm split in my own head. So
yeah, the chats are kind of leaning more towards no dynamic payouts. But once again,
and I think the dynamic payout. I mean, I think if you get back to that was kind of SCA's motto when it started was, do you cook $1,000 steak?
Yeah, it really was.
It kind of gone away, you know.
Yeah. Can you cook a $1,000 steak? Yeah, that's very true. And then let's talk about. Oh, go ahead, Nate. Sorry.
I mean, maybe there's a different way to do the dynamic where the winner still gets 1,000 and you take some off the back end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now we talked about $1,000 steak. Let's talk about a $10,000 steak. Should steaks be provided at Worlds?
I think so.
I have a thought on that. I was thinking about that earlier today. I think that it would be really wise, since we have teams coming in from Japan, Australia, all over the place. They're not going to try to travel with a steak, and that'd be just reckless. I think that if SCA were to partner with a local purveyor and basically lay out, hey, here's what we're looking for in the steaks, come set up a booth the same way other vendors do, with coolers with steaks on hand that are really good for SCA. Come with some prime, some choice, some spinalis, some tri-hearts. And so then cooks can buy the steaks there from the purveyor of choice. They get free advertising or whatever, but it gives people the opportunity to buy it once they get there. That was my thought.
I guess it would depend on me. How much is the entry fee going to drop? Because the entry fee for Worlds is pretty steep. And if they still want you to pay $350 and provide your own steak.
Yeah.
Well, Brennan, by the number of rounds you were involved in, I paid twice what you paid. So, if you judge it by the dollars per round, it was a lot more expensive for me than you, Brennan. So
I will agree with that.
Yeah. Looking at you too there, Miriam. So, just saying.
And then how does that change the secondary event at World, right? What is it called now? It's
the TMS Classic.
TMS Classic. Now then, are you still responsible for bringing your own steak to that one as well? So it's just a whole bunch of questions. Once again, this is a test period. This is a test period. This is not in the foundation. This is just a test. But it's just a bunch of what if questions. Do you guys have any what if questions? Anybody?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of two minds about how much trimming should be allowed beforehand and everything else, because it feels like it should be part of your day. But then I kind of want to punch myself in the face and go, dude, shut up. You get to trim the night before, and you're the slowest trimmer at all of SCA. So,
especially coming from somebody from St. George, man, those contests get hot. I'd rather trim in a controlled environment and just be ready to go versus trying to trim a steak out there that's literally starting to melt in your hand as you're going along. So I see the benefits of that side.
Yeah, I mean, how many contests have you been to that steaks sit out for 15, 20 minutes before selection? And how hard do they
remember the 3-hour steaks at Oregon?
Whoa. Yeah, that was horrid. I'm surprised that guy can even be a rep still.
It was jelly. They were bad.
74 degrees internal when we got them back to our tables.
Yes. Oh. Try and trim that one.
Try to trim that.
Yeah. Blake, you've been kind of quiet. What do you have any questions that may have popped up to your mind coming from the judging aspect?
Well, from the judging aspect, I mean, the big question I have is, I mean, you guys, as you go out and are purchasing steaks, what kind of different things are really going to impact the judging end, right? I mean, you can have different cuts from different types of cattle that are coming out. So some people might be coming with Angus. Some people might be coming with, am I bringing grass-fed versus grain-fed versus, all these different elements.
Everybody take grass-fed. I'll have a better chance at winning if everybody does grass-fed.
Please, everybody get grass-fed. Grass-fed.
I love grass-fed.
Right? So
grass fed,
that's the
it's just
question
not
on
good.
my end is how much do the steaks that you are bringing really going to impact? Because I know you can have one person that brings the most expensive steak that they can find and then does a terrible job cooking, prepping, seasoning, all that stuff. Whereas somebody goes and gets some, Costco or Sam's Club or Walmart ribeyes, brings it in and does a fantastic job with everything they do.
I'm just gonna put it out there. For me, I am going to buy the best possible ribeye that fits within my budget. I'm not a millionaire and I'm not broke, but I need to buy a ribeye that's going to fit within my budget, and then that is going to give me a competitive advantage in the way that I possibly can.
Like, people have brought up Wagyu. I've eaten Wagyu ribeye, and I haven't found it as enjoyable as a nice high choice prime ribeye.
Nate, I did the best I could with it, man. You got to let it go. Sorry.
I wasn't going to name names, Sean.
But it does bring up the question for a judge, and I'm curious because I haven't judged in forever. Is how do you judge a Wagyu against suddenly the parameters are going to change. A choice Angus versus a Wagyu versus a prime local grass fed. Like how? And I guess it comes down to judge's preference anyway. That's why they call it judging. But it's going to be a lot different if you are not getting several of at least the same starter steaks. So,
I mean, honestly, as a judge, we have the criteria that are set out, and whether you're giving me a steak that is, a choice steak versus a Wagyu steak, I'm still going to be using the same criteria to judge. How is the texture going to be? What is the quality of the cook going to be? How does it look? What's the appeal? Is it taste like a salt brick or not? So a lot of that criteria is going to be easy to just keep consistent across these different steaks. And again, what is the return? If I spend $100 on a steak, what am I really benefiting at the end? Like, what's the return on that?
The same return as paying $125 entry fee.
But I'm going to chime in there. We're talking
You don't
about
know.
chiming in saying a Wagyu won't cook good. It's how you cook the Wagyu. If you can find a good cook that can cook the Wagyu, it will blow anything out of the water. I'm sorry. It just depends on the cook that's cooking it. End of story.
So I'm a bad cook, is what you're saying.
No, you said that, not me.
Better.
No, you said that.
No, I cooked it and I didn't find it as enjoyable.
But let's be honest, though, with that a little bit. I'm going to lean a little bit towards Christina's perspective on this slightly. No, we're not going to put grill marks on a Wagyu steak. That's probably going to be a beautiful pan sear with lots of butter.
I'll pan sear it all day long. Yeah.
So there is a competitive advantage from that side as well. So a reverse sear Wagyu.
Yep.
That might have a good. And then now here we are. Snake River Farms is going
Where's
to get more of
Rusty?
our money.
Where is Rusty?
See, I don't know. I
How many
personally
ribeyes have we seen with very high scores?
And speaking of Wagyu, we got Team Japan coming in. That's all they really cook over there. I think so. They're going to have a competitive advantage.
And maybe that'll be fun for the judges. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. You get something like that melts in your mouth, and somebody's cooked it right. Good on you for getting that steak. Like,
yeah.
And I think we're going to see what wins, and everyone's going to run to whatever wins.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
I think it does give you the advantage of going to a contest and you're turning in the steak that you're comfortable with every single time. You're not going and saying, "Oh, well, I drew last, or I didn't get a steak. I hate cooking Spinella steaks, or I don't like a Tri-Heart. That's what was there. There wasn't anything else I liked." It also helps you to where you can now kind of hone your craft at home, cooking what you're going to turn in. Most of your grocery stores are getting the same sourcing every time, so you can actually practice with that at home.
Yeah, that is. I feel like this is going to be. How do I say this? It's going to be more consistent cooks for the cook. They're going to be able to go and source their beef. They're going to be able to practice it. They're actually going to really build a good timeline around what they're doing, and they're going to have more consistent steak across the board. I believe. Over time.
Yeah.
Over time, and then kind of what Sean said is. Whatever steak's going to be winning that goes back to back to back, people are going to go to that source, and then it's going to get crazy.
Yeah.
You know, so
I seen on one of the comments here they talked about a jackpot steak, and from what I hear, it's still going to happen at RecTech in 2 weeks. They're going to do prize money split with first place.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a $50 entry and they have 10 people sign up, that's $500. Then $250 will go to first. $250 will go to the promoter to help with their whatever.
This is going to be my game plan. I'm not going to.
You might actually make more money on that one.
I'm not going to cook a steak all season until the last competition, and then I'm going to cook A, B, and the jackpot, and one of those should land me a golden ticket.
There you go.
Not if that's the only steak you're going to cook.
Yeah. If we don't have a lot of comps, that might change.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's the downside to the jackpot is somebody can just literally wait out all season, come in, everybody already has golden tickets, and then just hit a jackpot and call it a day. So
yeah.
Sean,
not wrong.
You're competing against people who are going to bring their normal steak they're turning in for A or B.
Yeah,
you're still going to have to cook a dang good steak.
Yeah, but by that time they should all have, especially in the Midwest, everybody's gonna have their golden ticket. All you got to do is top 10.
Still got to place top 10. So
top 10 and you're in. So
hey, last year I had my golden ticket by now. Last year, actually, I already had my golden ticket last year.
Or you can be like Chris.
Yet this year.
Yeah, you can be like Chris and just get an at-large and didn't even cook a steak, but you got an at-large ticket anyway. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, that's weird. How do I do that? Wait a second. How do we do that? No, I think he cooked one steak.
Yeah, he cooked one.
Yeah.
No, you cooked one.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. So does anybody else have anything to say? Anybody in the comments, anybody watching? Is there anything that you may want to ask that we can try to touch on? Once again, this is just a test phase. This is not locked into concrete.
Yeah.
This is just more of less saying, what's going on? Let's ask some questions. But damn, we're all going to go out there and cook a steak either way. Bring our own or have it provided. We're all competitive.
I appreciate SCA trying things. Like I appreciate that they're trying things and they're trying to figure it out. And you know what? Any organization that stagnates, it's the beginning of death. So you try some things and it'll work or it won't, or we'll tweak it, whatever works.
I think the line has already been drawn in the sand. People have already said that they're out or they're in. I think it's already done. So
yeah, but I quit about every other competition. And then
fair enough.
Even when I do well, half the time I quit by the time the comp's over.
It's steady, Nate. Just steady.
So I mean, it's one of those things. How many times have we, I'm done, but then I want to go see you guys and I can't stay away. Sorry.
So I'm just going to ask across this board. I already know the answers. Everybody already knows the answers, but we'll start with Brandon. Brandon, are you in or out?
I'm in. I'm an SCA guy, so I mean, it's not something that's going to push me out for sure.
Sean?
Well, I'm in, even though I think you all are in, and it'd be kind of nice if you were all out and I could actually win a comp again. But no, I'm definitely in. This year's my year, baby. Let's do this.
Benson's?
Well, Miriam wants to win a comp one of these days too.
Yep.
But
number 2 in the world.
Anyway, Queen of Second. But I mean, I'm like, there's pros and cons, but I'm excited to try something new. I'm hoping that it's great and we love it and it builds it. That's
Christina, In or out are on steaks.
We're in. We're in.
Chris says we're in. I don't
I love
know.
it.
I don't know. So
Well, I'm gonna say this publicly, Christina. I'm gonna put you on blast. I think you need to come out and cook because of the regional events. I would like to see you have a chance at running the title against the Bensons, Cobia, and other fantastic cooks in Utah. So
thank you.
I would
appreciate
like
that.
I would like to see you come out and throw your name in the hat and try to mix it up a little bit.
What about
Chris,
me? Can you, like,
you
I'm
last
not
night on the
an ancillary
podcast,
cook?
your job is to start the fires. You
Ribs,
admitted
man,
that.
ribs.
That's all I'm gonna do.
I like competing against Christina. She pushes me hard.
Christina is a world food cook. She's done a lot of stuff on there. She mixes it up. She brings their game. I think she elevates everybody's game. And we're gonna move on to Cobia. Ask him if he's in or out, and I'm pretty sure he'll agree with me that Christina elevates his ancillary cooks as well.
Thank you.
I'm in. I won't be in on all of them. And yeah, when I first started cooking, I didn't want to get first. I wanted to beat 3 people. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to beat Nate, I wanted to beat Kyle, and I wanted to beat Christina. I didn't give a crap about anything else. If I finished 5th and they all finished dead last, I did good that day. So that's what I cared about. I will add
sure
this
you won
though.
your first one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. I won it's still my second best one. My very first ancillary was my second best ancillary I've ever scored on. So, but I will say this: the only thing I hope is that this doesn't turn into a who can get steak sponsors for high-end steaks, and it becomes something that people can't afford because unless they can get a high-end steak, they have no chance. That's what I hope it doesn't come into, because I have a feeling that it won't, because I think it's gonna be hard to get steak sponsors. But that's just one fear of that you'll start to get people who say, oh, well, I've got a steak sponsor. They gave me high-end prime and Wagyu every single time. And then I'm not going to go spend $125 on a steak. I'll be out at that point and I'll never compete again.
Yeah. See, and I question how much of an advantage like a Wagyu, a real high-end Wagyu.
Well, we'll find out.
Oh, I do too. But I mean,
We'll find out
if
if
it
they
did,
did.
They still got to cook it.
I'll
I know.
chime in there. I'll chime in there with Cobia as well on that. That's a very good point, Johnny, that, I'm proud of those who run out and go get sponsors, but I think it's very intimidating for new people coming in when people are up there and they've got all these sponsors, they're shouting out all these sponsors. And I think even me being frustrated, if somebody got a steak sponsor and there were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people out there not paying for steaks, and then there's a whole bunch of us that are, I don't know. I'd be totally out at that point. I wouldn't come back if people are up there saying, I want to shout out Harmon's for my steaks or blah, blah, blah for my steaks. And people are now getting steak sponsors and not even paying. As a new cook and a cook coming in, I wouldn't want to come back.
It'd be hard. I admit.
That will become a thing if this sticks. Just a heads up.
Christina, though, that's what happens at KCBS. Like, all of the big KCBS guys are sponsored by ranches and farms and meat purveyors, and they shout them out, right?
No, I've never
think
heard
so.
a shout out ever at KCBS. And maybe that's the thing.
KCBS doesn't
If somebody
shout out.
if they want to do it on their social media pages, if they want to do it personally, that's one thing. But I've never been into KCBS and they stand up there for 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes rambling on 5 to 15 sponsors ever. So
Fair
I
enough.
think that's a little discouraging.
It's
So if
also a
somebody
more
wants to go,
expensive sport. KCBS is more expensive. I'm in the SCA because it's cheap, which it isn't, because my first year I did it, I spent over $7,000 traveling from freaking everywhere. So we say it's cheap, but it is a little bit more of a cheaper sport, I should say.
This is a hobby. This is a hobby. This is money you throw into a money pit and don't expect to get back. There's no difference between SCA and going to and putting your money on black on the roulette table. It's a
Black
hobby. It's
24.
something you enjoy. It brings us joy, and we like to do it because we enjoy doing it. And yes, winning some money is definitely a good reward, but honestly, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
And we all enjoy it.
Yeah, I never made a dime when I was fishing.
Yeah,
I've never been paid for this. Period. I'm just gonna throw that one out there.
Yeah, so Blake's obviously in. He has to pay a $40 annual membership and he gets all the best quality food you could probably ask for. Maybe
that's
judging
all
where
the
it's at.
complaints,
$40 for
pointed
the best
fingers
steaks and ancillaries. Wait a second. Blake. I might be right next to you. I think this is better.
Wait, I need to switch sides. It sounds like.
Right?
I would come judge with us. We love more judges.
I'm a terrible judge. You don't want me to do that.
Crazy eights.
We don't need any crazy eights.
I judged one time and then I entered in the scores and
anymore though.
Yeah.
I found out how bad a judge I was.
Oh man. Well, all right, guys, we have exceeded the 1 hour mark where I like to end the podcast. I just want to thank every single one of you for spending your time coming and discussing this. Once again, this is not concrete. This is just discussion and testing. I want to thank everybody who actually chimed in and on the comments. Those are fantastic. Those are going to be in there forever. And then also, I want to thank the SCA for being able to give us the opportunity to go out and do this, express our voices. Brett does listen. Ken does listen. So I just want to thank everybody who's involved in the sport, and thank you all for being my friends. Thank you for supporting the show. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Hey, Kobe,
All right.
send me that list of cheat stuff again, would you? Thanks.
Yeah.
Will do. I'll send it to you. Fold the corners.
Easiest way is $20 bills in the bottom of the box. That's easy to
If you leave your string on, boom, automatic 10.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
put the 20.
That's
oh,
false.
you put the $20 bill with the string on it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Alrighty, guys. You guys have a good night.
Have a good
Hey,
one.
thanks, everyone. See y'all.
See ya.
Yeah.